Hello, my name is Mark, and John Ray was my uncle. My mother was his older sister. So when I was asked to speak today, I actually didn't know what to say because I've never done this before, and I've been to a lot of these, but I still didn't know what to say. However, it kind of came to me as I was driving here. My uncle was like a teacher. Many of you probably know this, but he taught me a lot of things growing up. He taught me how to trout fish and clean the trout, which wasn't really fun for me. He taught me how to go on a field trial and shoot a quail. Again, not very fun for me because that is. And then I had to pluck the feathers from the quail, and we ate the quail later. It was good. One thing, though, that I do remember about my uncle that sticks out most in my mind is he tried to teach me to drive on ice. Driving a car on ice is not very easy, but especially if you own a Suzuki Samurai. So we're driving on ice, and the car decides to flip over. So we're both in the car, and the car turns over into a ditch. And he looks at me kind of nervously. We both get out of the car, but first he tells me to turn the engine off. So we get out of the car. He looks at me, he says, "Well, let's turn it back over and go home." So that is what we did. He dug the car out, we balanced it, and we pushed the car back onto its side and drove home. And then about an hour later, we went out on ice again. That is one thing that he did for me, is he taught me so much. He was able to understand my shortcomings, and he met me where I was able to be met with those. In October of 2008, I was really privileged that it was just he and I were the last ones in our family. He decided to adopt me, so I had an adult adoption in 2008, and he was my legal father. So today I'd like to wish him a happy Father's Day. Thank you for coming.
Hi, everyone. This is a story about John the Hunter. Who better to tell the story than Ranger John's dog? You see, Ranger and John had it in their head that they were like father and son. So, here it goes.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to my dad's service. You may know me. I was always riding around Lubbock with my dad. He'd let me ride up front. Most of the time, my head was out the window. We would go see all our friends at the rental houses. Dad, he'd fix things up while I ran around the neighborhood, making sure everything was okay. My dad, John, he was quite the hunter. He would tell me stories of how he fought this big brown bear in Alaska and how he trapped a lion in British Columbia. He talked about tracking a black bear clear across Canada. Dad really liked going to Africa. One time, he brought back a spotted leopard and a scary mask that he traded a Bible for. Dad told me the mask was haunted. You know Dad, he always was a kidder. I loved going places with my dad. It was enjoyable, as most of you know. On one trip, we went to the big hunting show at the Longhorn Coliseum. When we started to go in, a large Texas longhorn stopped us and told Dad that I couldn't go to the show. Dad, he tried and tried, talking his way in, but it was no use. We went on back to the truck, and Dad, he was mad, and he said something about being an Aggie, and we were smarter than those longhorns. Dad, he asked me if I thought I could maybe be a CNI dog. Me, Ranger, the professional hunter? I thought, well, anything for Dad. He fixed me up with a harness and a brand new bandana, And Dad, he put on dark sunglasses and grabbed a cattle prod out of the back of the truck for a cane, and away we went back to the show. We sure had fun, the whole show. Dad, he sure enjoyed fooling those longhorns. Dad, he hunted from Pakistan down to Botswana, and from the Northwest Territories down the Rocky Mountains and even into Mexico. Dad and I, we guided buffalo hunts on a ranch in Colorado. We made a lot of new friends, and he loved telling stories from his favorite book. And Dad would love to tell his favorite part, the part about John. Dad was always hunting something, and this time he was going to hunt a new stepmom for me. And it was a long hunt. He hunted from coast to coast and from Canada to Mexico. He even caught a few, but he said they weren't the one. We spent hours on the computer, hunting and researching. Then one day, Dad decided to go on a big old boat, probably to go fishing or something, and that's where he found my new mom, Donna. She was just what we needed. Dad has been very happy since he brought Donna home. Dad just returned from Russia. He said it was the best hunt ever. He even said he got scared a few times. We just got the mounts back, and they looked just like he said they would. My uncles from Kansas took me and Dad on our last hunt. They brought 60 pheasants clear from Kansas down to Texas. It was a great couple of days, just me and Dad hunting with our friends.